What a privilege and honor it is to start here on Palmetto Sports Daily. I'm Carmine here in Greenville. Bronwyn's story is in Charleston in the middle, and Teagan Brown is over in the Myrtle Beach area. And we got a lot to talk about, guys, because we have March Madness on multiple different levels, and we also have our third state of South Carolina baseball coach being ejected in a 1 week span. We'll get to the bump and everything else in just a little bit, but let's start with the Lander Bearcats, and I'm told they're ready to bear down. This is what they do, and we got not an bump, we got a pump beforehand just to present well here at the beginning of this show. But the Lander Bearcats men's basketball team, if we can pull up this video of their great send-off, there's their head coach, Omar Watad. This team is headed to the Division II men's basketball national championship game in Indianapolis, the first time they've made it that far. This team already has set a program record with 30 wins this season. They have a record of 30-5. They've won their last 16 in a row, including 5 in a row in the Division II men's basketball version of their March Madness in the NCAA tournament, and including a win over last year's national champion in the semifinals. That's Nova Southeastern. So now they're getting ready. You see the bus pulling out to go to the national championship game in Indianapolis. That'll be played Sunday afternoon. Here's their head coach and an extremely excited Lander student.
Bearcat Nation's second to none. The support we've had here is not surprising because Lander University, in my opinion, is the best institution in the state of South Carolina. Greenwood, South Carolina has always been there for us. We're just truly blessed and thankful to be able to have all the support, be able to represent the university on Sunday.
I'm just so proud of Lander, and I've always believed in us, and the fact that they're doing this right when I'm about to graduate, I've never felt more school spirit in my life!
All right, so there you go. That is the reaction I have imagined a staff member of Palmetto Sports Daily and a Lander graduate, Kelly DeValia, had when she found out her alma mater, Lander University from Greenwood, South Carolina, was headed to the Division II National Championship. Teagan, how about this excitement for the Division II National Title game? We'll get, of course, to the Gamecocks women's basketball in Division I, but everybody loves a story of a team from a smaller town getting ready to bear down.
Yeah, I think the excitement is very evident. I had not heard that soundbite before, so my reaction was real. I wish you all could have seen it. I really didn't expect it. I had to take my little IFB out of my ear for a second. It was so loud.
But that was what was surprising.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, I was not expecting that. So, great to see them, get to that level. And, it's March. This is the time of year where you want to find those Cinderella stories and you want to find these teams that you've never heard of, and you want to cheer them on. I do know that we have an alum, so that's super exciting to see the connection for her. So, yeah, this is a great experience for them, and best of luck to them, Bronwyn.
Yeah, that's right. Can I have one more of the bear down, Carmine? Just one. I just want one more. Hit me with it.
Right here. I've been told cradling the baby bear cub and keep this top arm extended with, as good of a presentation as you can. Not full Arnold Schwarzenegger, but, try to do your best.
Right.
Hey, producer Nick, what does our friend rate that?
Oh.
Yeah, Kelly, our 9 out of 10, that's great.
10. Oh, okay. Wow.
I'll take that. Hey, when Rick and Kevin are
Good
away,
for you.
the Bearcat will play. Okay, when Rick and Kevin are away. Because I'm much less concerned about you guys making fun of me than I am those two. So thank you.
Bring back Rick.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, maybe I need to be reined in. Maybe I need to be reined in.
Missing the
All right,
roasting.
hey.
She's missing the roasting.
Let's talk about, unfortunately, not as good of a story. We'll talk about the opponent for the Lander University team. They face Gannon from Erie, Pennsylvania, 1:30 on Sunday afternoon in Indianapolis for the Division II National Championship. But not so great news for another local team here in the upstate, Furman, because Alex Wilkins, according to multiple sources and his own social media posts, plans to enter the transfer portal. This is Furman men's basketball's leading scorer from last season. Here you see his Instagram story. Multiple other sources reporting he plans to go into the transfer portal. And this is a all-conference freshman who led Furman in scoring, 18 points a game, led them in assists, 5 assists per game, and led them to the SoCon championship. There you see over in Asheville. In the semifinals, he scored the most points for a Furman player in the SoCon tournament in about 50 years. He scored 34 points in the semifinals, had double digits in the championship, even scored a team high 21 points against UConn, of course, now in the Final Four. But in the first round, he scored 21 points in a Furman-UConn matchup where the Paladins it was a close game up until the last few minutes, and you see how good UConn has been. Unfortunately, that now seems like the final game for Alex Wilkins at Furman. And so it seems like he's moving on. I spoke with their sports information director, Jordan Caskey. He said Furman has no comment on the situation because the transfer portal doesn't actually open until April 7th. But Bronwyn, what do you make of players moving around? I mean, players have moved around even from a top level like Clemson. Asa Thomas moved down to Furman, had a lot of success there, moving down a level, but it's hard to blame a kid for trying to maximize their money and their exposure by moving up after a great season in the SoCon.
Yeah, I totally agree. I am probably one of the old heads on here where I'm like, transfer portals ruin college sports. And I feel that a little bit just because, is there any loyalty anymore with a team? If you have one great season as a freshman and you're out of there. And so how can you really trust that kid to produce for his next team? And then on the flip side, I understand the kid's side too, because you don't know how long you're going to stay healthy. How long can you produce this and get that NIL money? So I think it's a catch-22. I think everybody is saying that, but I don't know. I think for him it makes a lot of sense. On3 had him as one of their 10 mid-major freshmen standouts. And so I want to know, Teagan, do you have any kind of a wish list where you think he might land?
I mean, my guess is that he's going to try to go to a Power 4 program. I'm sure that with his performance at Furman, he was starting to feel like a big fish in a small pond, so to speak. So it just seems like the right next move would be to go to a conference like the ACC. I could see him maybe, trying to get to somewhere like Clemson or Boston College or any of those programs. But I don't blame him for wanting more. He wants a bigger place to play. He wants more money. Like there are just so many factors that could be going into this. So anytime a player's jumping into the portal, I'm not necessarily blaming the player. I think, the NCAA has thrown out this whole system to everyone out there with a lack of restrictions, Carmine.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Tough to have blame on either side. And if you're Furman and Bob Ritchie, you got to recruit your best talent, maximize it in 1 year, win a SoCon championship, and then let the chips fall where they may after that. So another element of March Madness. Both of you made great points there. Let's make some points about the Gamecocks women's basketball team. Their 6th straight trip to the Final Four and getting ready for a rematch of the national championship game from last year against UConn. Let's hear from Raven Johnson and Coach Dawn Staley about what they took from last year's very difficult loss in the championship game and the UConn program they're up against.
I just remember getting beat by 20, honestly. I think we got new players in. This is their first time experiencing the Final Four, but I think Coach Staley and the other coaches are doing a good job of keeping the main thing, and helping us be ready when the moment is here.
UConn has been the standard in women's basketball for a very long time, and everyone has to measure up to their standard. I think they allow us something to reach for, and when you have a traditionally rich program like that, I think it helps us all grow. It helps us all try to game plan and figure out ways to just measure ourselves up to them and then possibly beat them. And then to be able to do that over a period of time, it's almost impossible. But it's incredible the standard that they have had for the past 35, 40 years.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about the UConn run, winning 12 national titles starting in 1995. That was their first one. And then they had that gap. Don't forget about the gap from their previous one before last year. Beating the Gamecocks was 2016. And then, of course, the Gamecocks won 3 in the span of the UConn titles from 2016 to 2025. Matching up twice against UConn in the national championship, and these two teams have gone 1-1 in their national championship matchups. Teagan, should we expect a different result this time around, or what's your confidence that the Gamecocks can turn it around from almost losing by 25 in last year's national championship?
Yeah, I think I've gained a stronger sense of confidence in the Gamecocks throughout tournament play. I think their offense just looks so much stronger than it did in the regular season. Not that they look bad, but just the opponents that they've been able to, rematch against in the postseason and get big wins over them has just been really impressive. I mean, hopefully with Tanaya Latson, of course, the top scorer from last season in D1, with her on the team, maybe that'll be the difference maker this year against UConn. But I just don't think this will be the same matchup that we saw last year where the Gamecocks are down by 20.
Yeah, I want to add in just some interesting points here. 2 areas UConn's kind of shown that vulnerability this season: rebounding, defending the three-pointer. Those are 2 areas South Carolina is elite. Listen to this, ranking 4th national in three-point shooting percentage and inside the top 15 in 7 different rebounding statistics. And I think the real question that everybody's asking, can Joyce Edwards have a game of her life and keep Sarah Strong in check?
Great points there, Bronwyn. I didn't even know there were 7 different rebounding categories, so that's great to hear. Plus, they have that post presence, like you said, in addition to Joyce Edwards, and they have a 6'6" center now that they didn't have last year. So maybe that inside play and Joyce Edwards, definitely remembering what Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd, and Paige Beckers did to them last year, combining for, I think, about 70 points between the 3 of them. So we'll be right back after this break with a little more March Madness, but this time it's the coach going mad on the baseball diamond. Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll try to keep the excitement going like that Lander University student pumped up to talk about, unfortunately, another disappointing performance for Clemson baseball. They got run-ruled by Wake Forest at a neutral site in Charlotte at Truist Field, the site of the Charlotte Knights, AAA affiliate of the White Sox. Seemed like this could be an opportunity, guys, for Clemson to bounce back, but unfortunately they continued this tough tail slide, losing 15-4 in 7 innings. Clemson now losing 7 out of its last 8 games, if you can believe that, and a 2-7 start to ACC play, even though this one technically did not count against the conference schedule. But I want to describe a situation we can't show you because of the video rights, but we can tell you about it. In the 3rd inning with 2 outs and 2 strikes, Clemson's Tyler Lichtenberger committed a pitch clock violation, giving them the penalty of a 3rd strike and ending the inning. Lichtenberger tried to call a timeout, but the home plate umpire Chris Ward didn't grant him the extra time. Eric Bakich, very upset about it, came sprinting out of the dugout, got in the face of Ward, pointing his finger, giving him a piece of his mind, and then got ejected. And here's Coach Bakich speaking about just the tough stretch, losing another game in a run rule.
We do have a good foundation, believe it or not, even though we're not showing good fundamentals all the time. It's still there, and this is just one of those, like to think that we were coming out of it, but tonight it's just the harsh reality that we got our butts kicked. Wake outplayed us, outcoached us. Just got to be better. I have to be better, really. I mean, I need to be better, and our coaches are going to find a way to make this entire team better, but it's on us. We're going to get it figured out. This is not permanent. This is just a very, very, very tough stretch. But stick with us, and we're going to get through it.
Yeah, summed it up very well there, Eric Bakich, one of the nicest people and best people who we cover. He's gradually trimmed back the mustache from handlebars to a regular mustache and now nothing. And I think just trying any way, Bronwyn, to turn this tide after losing 7 of the last 8 games. Now they go on a West Coast 3-game series at Stanford, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. Clemson, obviously frustrating. I think last night, Bakich gets thrown. I have to think in your head, as you're obviously frustrated about your team, it probably feels a little bit good to just, get tossed and then be able to yell at the ump for however long you want. But last night, they managed just 7 hits, went 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position, and failed to deliver in 2-out situations. And like he said, if you just stick with us. But I don't know. Where do they go from here, right? Like, it's just been one after another of just, like, punching right down onto Clemson. I don't know. Where do they go from here? I think that's the real question we have to ask.
Yeah, good question. I mean, they've done this several times, 1 for 13, and I think in the start of this tail slide in the series against Notre Dame, it was another 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. So they're just not getting the timely hits, and they're making untimely errors. So when it's a razor-thin margin in the ACC and other teams are getting better while they're, just trying to figure it out, that's not a good recipe when your offense is not being timely and your defense is being untimely. So we'll be right back after a short break. Hopefully, we'll show what's going on with these South Carolina baseball coaches and these ejections right after this.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. What's in the water? That's what I want to know in South Carolina. We got a lot of ump bumps. We had 3 coaches ejected in the span of, I think, a week. 2 of them I was personally there for. I was obviously not there for Eric Bakich last night, but I just want to know why. Why is everybody so mad? Now, I did see Triplett. Now, here's Holbrook, okay? You do get a little bit of an ump bump here at the end. It's coming. He kind of backs off and goes in. He was mad about
right there.
Something that there it was. Something about his catcher. I couldn't catch it. And then Triplett was mad about the zone. It was a pretty, I'll say it just as a fan, pretty inconsistent zone from that ump. Right before this, though, Eric Schnall of Coastal, who was at this game, got a warning for the same thing. He was calling out that the zone was inconsistent, and he didn't get tossed, but there went Russ. There he goes. Bye, Russ.
Yeah. Kevin Schnall knows what it's like to be tossed from a game. Of course, throwback to the College World Series last year, which resulted in him being suspended for the first 2 games of this season. That was something that they tried to, push back against, but he was, in fact, out for those 2 games. But, yeah, I mean, it's just a very interesting week for South Carolina coaches. I get it, emotions are high out there, especially last night, for Clemson, where they're on such a bad streak. And then Coastal's on a hot streak, so I don't blame the Citadel for being upset and wanting to try to beat them and end that winning streak there, Carmine.
Yeah, and I don't want any chuckling or laughter to get in the way of these coaches, of course, trying to win, and inspire their teams and go after a conference championship or even the College World Series. But that Chad Holbrook, that ump bump reminds me of the bear down, very similar of the Lander University team. Look at that. Look, he knew the second he bumped that ump with the tummy, with the belly bump. He knew right there. Great producing by our behind-the-scenes crew. And he immediately turns away and knows that he did something wrong. Thankfully, though, according to what Kevin told us earlier this week, no extra penalties for Holbrook because they said he didn't bump. We saw the ump bump. But the ejection was enough. Then you had Triplett keeping his distance. Maybe he saw the Chad Holbrook clip. He said, I don't want to get my belly anywhere near bumping that ump. And he kind of was like, it was almost like there was a force field there. He didn't want to get too close. And then Eric Bakich, we couldn't show that video. But Eric Bakich was kind of in between. Yes, true. So the added respect, good point there, Bronwyn. And then Eric Bakich, we couldn't show the video because of the rights restrictions. But he was right in the umpire's face and yelling at him. No bump. But the finger wag was in full effect. So we kind of had 3 different realms of the spectrum of ump arguments, all resulting in ejections in a week span, Teagan.
Well, now I guess we're just waiting to see if any more coaches get thrown out this weekend. Coastal Carolina will be at home versus South Alabama. So we'll see if Kevin Schnall can keep his cool. We're going to take a quick break here on Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. We've already kicked off MLB season, and now it's all about minor league baseball. We have the Myrtle Beach Pelicans kicking off their season today on the road. And they're on the road for a little while before their home opener. But the Pelicans getting ready to take on the River Dogs in Bronwyn. This is a team with former Coastal Carolina pitcher Caden Bodine, which I know a lot of fans are really excited about.
Yeah, and skipper Danny Mendick is also excited. He was raving about him, said he's such an elite player. He can't wait to see him in action. Something interesting, the River Dogs have the most home wins of any single A club since they rejoined the Rays organization in 2021. They have 19 returners on the roster, and obviously we know Bodine is a star. He set a record at Coastal for most runners caught stealing with 46 in his college career. I'm excited to be there tonight. If you're there, come see me, but we'll see how this goes against the Pelicans. But I know the Drive are also playing tonight, right, Carmine?
Yes, they are. Good point, Bronwyn. The Greenville Drive hosting the Greensboro Grasshoppers. Lots of alliteration there. It's their opening day. We have our Palmetto sports reporter Ella Grogan with live coverage. We'll have a bunch more on our website and Fox Carolina mobile and streaming apps. Interesting notes about the Drive. They have 8 of the Boston Red Sox top 30 prospects on their team, including 5 players ranked in Boston's top 10 as far as prospects. So, Teagan, nothing like opening day for the majors or the minors. There's so much great baseball and lots for the fans to enjoy.
Yeah, it's exciting to be back out there, and we'll be back tomorrow with more on Palmetto Sports Daily, but that's going to do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow.